I want to welcome you into the first ever edition of the Heatmiserable podcast. This is already take number 2, just to put in perspective. Hopefully, this is a podcast that you'll come to love and enjoy. This is our pilot episode, episode number 1. And I want to, during this particular episode, and once again, I forgot to time it, so I'm going to try to keep this around 10 minutes or so. But what I want to do in this first episode is kind of give you a little background on myself and kind of a little bit of an idea of what we're going to do on this podcast. So first of all, my name is Doug Heater. I work in television and have done so on a part-time basis since the late 90s and full-time actually since about 2006. I have covered a wide variety of sports. In fact, outside of maybe chess and cornhole, I think I've done it all. I've done high school, college, professional, field hockey, wrestling, soccer, volleyball, football, basketball. You name it. I don't know. I've done strongman competitions at Sports Fest. I've done it all. So I feel pretty confident in my ability to relay some of the stories that I've experienced and also some of my opinions. This is going to be a strong opinion-based podcast. And the goal here is to basically not hold anything back. Nothing is off limits. Personal stuff, opinions, nothing is off limits. Before I get on about myself, I will be joined in a future episode and future episodes by my friend Mike, who I've known since 2002, and we express very similar opinions, but do see things slightly different. He'll be joining us as soon as I can get him on, and that should be pretty entertaining. 2 guys talking sports. This is going to be violently sports themed, but also could get off the rails a little bit. My goal here is to have a little bit of a guideline on where we're going to go with stuff, but kind of just go anywhere. I want to have an outline, but I don't know where I'm going to take it. And that's kind of what I want to do here today. So first, I want to tell you, and I want to tell you how this kind of got started. So without really holding anything back, I have multiple myeloma. It's not something that I need to address heavily, but the reason I'm telling you this is that you can look it up to see what it is. I don't fit that at all. I've had it since 2018. But the reason why I'm telling you this is that I get treatments on a monthly basis, and moving forward at some point, it'll be weekly. And one of the drugs they give me is a steroid called dexamethasone, and it causes me at times to not sleep. And I tend to do my best thinking probably somewhere between 12:30 and 3:30 in the morning. And that's when all this came about last night. I had millions of ideas, and this actually was one of them. And where I work, we have a Christmas video coming up. And last year, what we did is we did our favorite Christmas movie, I think it was actually Christmas desserts, and our favorite Christmas song. And I kind of did a funny outtakes video that I'm going to show you in a minute. And when I was thinking back to how much I enjoyed doing that and how I want to do one again, this is where this idea kind of came around, that why don't I do something like this all the time, as much as I want, and say whatever I want and really, hopefully people can enjoy it. Here's a look back at this video. Now, before I show it to you, I want to tell you that this is last December, and when the video is done playing, I'll explain why I look like I did then and why I look different now. Here, take a look at this video. All right, what's the first one? Favorite Christmas movie, that's right. All right, boy, this fire, man, is throwing off some heat. Whew. I'm sweating like a bastard. All right. Favorite Christmas movie. My favorite Christmas movie, I got 2 words for you. Die Hard. Is that 3? My favorite Christmas movie, I believe, is a true classic, and that is National Lampoon's European Vacation. Ah, shit. My favorite Christmas movie is an all-time classic, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The best part, of course, is when the shitter is full. Nope. Would that tell me that fire? Holy shit. Man, that is really hot. All right, what's the next one? My favorite Christmas song is that one by Carrie Underwood. I don't have any idea what it's called, but holy shit, is she hot. No? All right. I think that was all right. Yeah. I wanted to do it with the dog, but he's up there looking at the squirrels because we're feeding the squirrels peanuts and he's up there all obsessed about the damn thing. Oh, guaranteed. I'll bet you $1,000 Gwen does that with her cat on her lap. There's no question about it. I should have hung a animal in a tree. All right, that's it, right? All right, we're done. Now, I'm not wearing the hat because I look like a moron. Look at this. Giant head with this hat. Look at this. Look like a well, I look like a normally, but with the hat now too. All right. That's kind of an idea of where I want to go with this show or with this podcast. And that was Fat Doug. And I've been a vegan since 2018. We did it in April of 2018 when COVID hit. And last year, my friend who was going through a divorce actually was coming over probably 3 nights a week from November 1st until January, and we were drinking and having all kinds of recreational stuff, and I kind of got heavy again. So that's why I look the way I do then. Now I've gotten back a little bit stricter. We'll talk about some of the things I like to do in a little bit. But that was some good times. We come up with some pretty good ideas. I don't know. Do you ever notice though, when you're doing that, when you're enjoying some recreational stuff, that you can reinvent the wheel? We were sitting here watching football and we had come up with an idea. I mean, other than the fact that we completely understood how football should be different and we completely reinvented the game, but we actually came up with an idea of how we didn't think it was right for offensive and defensive linemen and linebackers for that matter, and even secondary guys to not be included because kids today, all they care about is numbers. So we came up with an idea of an app that would give people a chance to do fantasy numbers on offensive and defensive linemen. And we had a point system worked out. We actually came up with it. The plan went pretty well. The problem is that neither one of us are technologically savvy, nor can we speak. And the idea died. If anybody ever thinks of doing that, let me know, because we had some input. We had a point system for pancake blocks, all kinds of good stuff. So that was, but we reinvented that. That was actually a pretty good idea. I love football. It's my favorite sport. I've loved it since I was little. My first football game I watched, I won't tell you how old how old I am, but I watched my first football game was the Jets-Colts 69 Super Bowl. I was a year and a half. And the first football game that I remember, and the reason why I like the Minnesota Vikings, is the first football game I remember was Super Bowl IV when they played the Kansas City Chiefs, and I like the horn. And they've been my favorite team ever since. So I have been through misery. And if there's one thing that I have complete confidence in, is the fact that the Vikings will never win a Super Bowl. I actually joked about this, and one of these days I'll tell the joke. It's not really funny to people that know me, but I think it's pretty funny. But I won't do it today. I'm going to make a note of this another time. When Mike comes on, I'll tell him that story. I don't even know if I told him that story. I don't know if I told him that one. That one's not bad. But I was. One of the things I want to do with this is I want to be all over the place, and idea popped into my head, and I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But it had something to do with the Vikings, but it'll come back to me. So one of the things we're going to do this year on our show, where I work full time, is we're going to do Christmas ornaments, our favorite Christmas ornament. And I have an old Christmas ornament and I have a brand new one that my daughter got me. And the old one is probably 70 years old. I plan on debuting that. I think it's about 70 years old. And the new one is brand new, and it's one of my favorite lines that I tend to overuse, but have rules that you're not allowed to use it on yourself. And that's what she said. It's a nice purple one because that's my favorite color. So that's going to be coming up. I also I'll show it some one of these days, maybe when Mike comes on. So he and I have known each other since, I think I said this, right? Because I did 2 takes and I can't remember if I talked about this already. I've known him since 2002. Our kids met actually playing flag football. And I'm gonna tell him, I don't know if he knows that story. I don't know if he knows that story about we actually met at the Y. The YMCA, I mean. We actually met at the YMCA. And then later the kids played football together. It was kind of cool. I'll tell him. I'll tell you this. I'll tell him is that I knew right away. Like, it's one of those guys, like, I don't usually have wrong, I guess it's not a word premonition, but I don't usually have the wrong instances. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you about the superhero names. That's right. I'll get to it. But I knew right away. Anyhow, we've been friends since then, and I would consider my best friend. He lives in Florida, so we don't see each other very much, but this will definitely help out. Before I talk about, actually, I talked about that. Oh, I wanted to, some other stuff as a kid. So about, I don't know, it was summertime, I think it was, and I was mowing the lawn, I was coming up with some ideas, and I actually came up with superhero names for our family. And I'll wear the shirt one of these days. But I came up with one for myself, just to give you a little idea about me. My superhero name is Negatoro. And basically what Negatoro is that, and I heard this line on a TV show that actually was Dwight Schrute, him as an actor after The Office was off the air. He was a private investigator, or he was like a private investigator. And he was an extremely sarcastic, negative, honest person. And they used to say how negative he was. And I stole this line that I don't see the negative in people, I see the people in people. So anyhow, my superhero name is Negatoro. So usually what I say is I don't see the negative in things, I see the honesty in things. And that's why I'm so good with the Vikings, because it's easy, because they don't ever win. It's like these people that like Alabama and they lose a game and the world is coming to an end. So Mike and I have a lot of the same opinions, but we're a little bit different in some. And this has been on about 11 minutes now, so I should probably start thinking about wrapping this one up. But I'm looking forward to bringing him on and talking a little sports. My first ever, here's a good story about me. My first ever, so now, when I was a kid, and people can relate to this that are my age, we didn't have all this. I mean, you can get any jersey you want now. I mean, you can get anything. You can get Joe Namath in Alabama now if you wanted it. So we used to get the Sears catalog, and you would get a number for your team. It was whatever number they picked for your team. The first ever football jersey I got was the jersey and the pants and the knee pads and thigh pads and the helmet. Now, I'm pretty sure none of it matched, but it was a Johnny Unitas blue shirt, number 19, that I don't think I still have. I have my Vikings Tommy Kramer shirt, which I actually can fit into again, but it was a red helmet. Like, there wasn't even any team that was red. It wasn't red like the Cardinals. It wasn't like this. The St. Louis Cardinals were white. In the Falcons, it didn't have a logo on it. I don't know, maybe they didn't have the contract. But anyhow, the joke was that my dad used to call him Johnny Unit Ass. So we always referred to him as Johnny Unit Ass. I mean, I'm like, 4 years old and we're calling him Johnny Unit Ass. But that was my first football jersey. And my first Vikings jersey, and again, it was whatever you had. You couldn't pick. You get your own name on there now. Was Tommy Kramer, and I'll wear that at some point because I can actually fit into that again. So it was the number 9 Vikings jersey. I wore that. We had a pickup football game where I used to work. We had a pickup football game, and we played football, and we rotated everybody at quarterback. And Kramer, if you know the Vikings, like he was like the first version of Warren Moon, where he would come in and throw a great pass and then throw 4 interceptions. So I wore my Tommy Kramer jersey to play in this pickup football game, and the first time I threw a ball, I threw a pick 6. And that was the joke, that it was because of the jersey. Anyhow, I've got a good history with the Vikings. I'm going to wrap this up because we're approaching that time where I think people are going to get bored. And I might do another one of these today. I don't know what to see if this works out. But just to give an idea of what we want to do and where we want to go with this. I got a lot of opinions. I've got a lot of stories. And if you can relate to any of them, let me know. And I hope we'll see you back for episode number 2. Thanks for listening to the Heatmiserable podcast, episode number 1.